The story of the first black man to meet and have a conversation with Adolf Hitler. Hello, Displorers! Welcome back to another fascinating video presented to you by Displorer, and thanks for watching. In this video, we shall bring to you the story of the first and only black man to sit face to face and have a conversation with Adolf Hitler. But before we dive into the story, if you are new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. In the autumn of 1932, when African-American scholar Milton Samuel J. Wright became the first and only person of African descent known to have had a face-to-face conversation with the infamous Nazi leader Adolf Hitler, Wright was at the time a PhD student of economics at Heidelberg University. Some sources say that the African-American academic born in Georgia had just completed 2 years of study in Germany and had been given his degree certificate when he and his German friends decided to attend a regional political rally where Hitler spoke. At the rally, Wright would allegedly joke with his friends that he wouldn't mind assassinating the future dictator. SS guards apparently overheard the conversation and followed Wright as he went to a top hotel, Pascher Hof Hotel, in Heidelberg with his friends to have dinner. Hitler was at that same hotel. Wright, on entering the hotel, was reportedly detained by Nazi stormtroopers and taken to Hitler's room to be questioned. Wright, conversant with the Nazi ideology, was scared and thought that would be his end. But the interrogation turned into a 3 to 4 hour dinner for two, where they discussed several topics. The conversation unsurprisingly became one way. Hitler, who was calm throughout, would ask and then answer his own questions, but with a loud voice. Wright, fluent in German, would later give an account of his encounter with Hitler. The time with Hitler was spent almost entirely by his asking me questions about the Negroes in the United States. Of course, I had little opportunity to answer any of his questions because he would no sooner ask a question that he would immediately proceed to give his own answer. Wright wrote in the Pittsburgh Courier, a black weekly newspaper, "When I would attempt to correct some of his versions of life in America, he would almost invariably break into another question or comment. With that exception, he was most courteous to me. He spoke loudly, long, and with an air of authority." Hitler's views on race during the conversation were what one would probably expect from him. Wright wrote that he, Hitler, expressed the opinion that Negroes could have been much backbone because of the fact that they consistently allowed the whites to lynch them, beat them, segregate them, without rising up against their oppressors. "They must be definitely third-class people," he said. "Minority groups always get the worst of it in conflicts like race riots. Don't you think your people are destined perpetually to be slaves of one kind or another?" he asked. Hitler's answer was an enthusiastic yes. "Your people are hopeless, a lot. I don't hate them. I pity the poor devils." The future German dictator, however, paid Wright a compliment at the end of their 4-hour conversation, saying he loved the fact that the first black person he had ever met in person could speak better German than any white American or Englishman he had ever heard. In 6 months after their meeting, Hitler would rise to power as the Chancellor of Germany in 1933, and then as Führer in 1934. During the Nazi Party's leader dictatorship from 1933 to 1945, Jews, blacks, and a few other European nationalities were all victims of Nazi's racial cleansing. Though anytime Nazi Germany is mentioned, the Jewish Holocaust is at the forefront of everyone's mind. In the Nazi era, from 1933 to 1945, African Germans were in their thousands. Servants, students, sailors, and entertainers from present-day Rwanda, Burundi, Namibia, Cameroon, Togo, and Tanzania came to Germany, said a BBC report. In time, many African Germans were excluded from education and employment and were not allowed to have relationships with white people. Some were also sterilized, while others were sent to concentration camps. In effect, while black Germans were not subject to mass extermination, as in the cases of Jews, Romani, and Slavs, they were targeted too, though not in the same systematic way, researchers say. Wright had, before the start of the Nazi era, returned to the US after having completed his dissertation titled "The Economic Development and the Natives Policy in the Former African Protected Areas of Germany," from 1884 to 1918. The academic, born in Savannah, Georgia on June 28, 1903, had been pursuing his doctorate in economics at the University of Heidelberg in Germany. He received his BA from the Wilberforce University in Ohio in 1926 and his MA from Columbia University in 1928. While at Heidelberg in Germany, he was a student leader who received a lot of invitations to international student conferences at the University of Cologne in Germany and Oxford University in England, a report said. The year before he met Hitler, he wanted to launch student exchange programs between historically black institutions in the US and German universities. The African-American intellectual would later write a 7-page first-hand account of his meeting with Hitler in an article on Ebony magazine, over 20 years after the reported encounter. While back in the US, Wright became a professor and head of the Department of Economics and Political Science at his alma mater Wilberforce in 1933. In 1959, he was dean of the college. Before his death on March 11, 1972 in Ohio, survived by his daughter, the conversation he had with Hitler was dramatically reenacted on the anti-racist radio show No World A Coming in 1944. Josie Owen, an African-American athlete, was supposed to be the second black man to meet and shake hands with Adolf Hitler, but that didn't happen because he was snubbed by Adolf Hitler on several occasions. At the Summer Olympics in 1936 in Berlin, Josie won a gold medal, but Hitler purposely left the stadium because he didn't want to meet and shake the hand of a black man. The next day, Owen won another medal, and Hitler still snubbed him, so technically, Jesse, who was supposed to be the black man to meet Adolf Hitler face to face, never got a chance. There you have it, explorers. That was the story of the first and only black man to have a face-to-face with Adolf Hitler. Thanks for watching this video. Please do give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends.